Welcome back to Sika Strength and welcome back to Sika Stand new show at 6. We are coming at you this week, brought to you by Sika Sleep. As usual, just to let you know, Sika Sleep will be going off sale for non-subscription people at the end of September, and it will be off sale for a couple of weeks unless you're on subscription. Everyone on subscription will be taken care of as usual. So if you have been buying it once off every time, you need to get on the subscription soon.
Get her in.
Or buy enough now. Starting new show this week. Worlds have started today on the 4th of September. A lot of big lifts going down. And we are starting off with a lot of the great training hall footage from places like Hook Grip, Weightlifting House, All Things Gym.
All the other people there training, putting up their own videos.
Own videos. And starting off, we've got Giulia Mr. Andino going very, very heavy in the clean and jerk. 71 kilo lifter from Italy. This is 125 kilo clean and jerk. And clean jerk is definitely one of her stronger lifts. Or, to be honest, she's actually quite an even lifter, actually, across the snatch and clean and jerk. Very aggressive contact, extension, pull under in the clean.
Yeah, very, very good. What's your thoughts on heavy clean and jerks the week of competition, Griff?
Oh, yeah. Well,
to be honest, I like people to be like fired up, you know.
She's probably like 5 or 6 days out, so usually most of the time I have the last like max out 7 days before. 7 to 8 days before, and then the last heavy day. Usually in clean and jerks, it's last warm up in the clean and jerk, and then usually opener on the snatch is the golden rule, and it works very, very well. So she could be going hard at this one.
Yeah.
This could be the opener, because this certainly doesn't look like it's a max clean and jerk.
Geez, no, it looks very, 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 not pedestrian, but it looks like very easy clean and jerk.
I thought you just shut down there for a second.
I did, yeah. My brain just stopped working. The reason my brain stopped working is these next month or so, is the biggest month and a half or 2 or 3 months of sport for the weightlifting stroke S&C community, I think.
Yeah.
Because we've the Rugby World Cup and we've Worlds on.
Yeah, World Weightlifting Championships.
Yeah.
World Cup. Giulia also went for some very, very heavy snatches. She actually missed some, so this was on Seb's vlog on Weightlifting House. So she hit 105, which is a very good looking snatch, nice and easy, and then she went for 110 and missed it a couple of times, and some of the misses were not great. And this is kind of some of those issues with that knees out. She went for 111, missed it behind, and then she moved on to her clean and jerks. So
do you know what day that was on, Gareth?
No, I assume this was like Sunday or something.
Okay.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
The training hall opened up a few days ago.
The training hall looks phenomenal. Yes. I saw Harry Leach on the Capital Strength Instagram page. Had a little video of the training hall, like 75 brand new platforms or something.
Air conditioned.
Yeah. All brand new gear. You love to see it.
Yeah, if anyone has money to be doing this,
to do sports washing
is the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Now, next up we have got Lee Sang in the Lee Sang, formerly known as the Archer Manchipov section of the new show, with a 245 kilo double squat loaded in, I'd hesitate to say the wrong way, but it's certainly not the right way. You know,
nah, it's just not right.
245 at 67 kilo body weight. Fucking whew.
It's insane. I'm just always blown away by Lee, to be honest. If it's either weight is so incredibly high that you're like, how's he possibly doing that at that body weight? Or the volume is so incredibly high, you're saying, how's he possibly doing that many reps with that much weight?
Or how's he doing that much volume and then practicing clean and jerks within 3 or 4 days of that?
Are ZKC the gear provider for Worlds?
They must be. Is that what's on those bars? Is that ZKC?
I can't see it, but I know it's not Alico.
ZKC or ZKC. Americans say Z, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
ZKC. So loaded absolutely abysmally, but Lee, of course, demonstrating why he is one of the most powerful athletes. 245 for a double, 67 kilo body weight. Whew.
Lee demonstrating why he has his own section of the new show.
Do you know, he's actually going a lot deeper on these than usual as well. So if you just watch these again, like, he is really going significantly deeper than he normally would on those. Incredibly wide outside shoulder width squat.
The toes most forward than they could possibly be.
Yeah, he's a strong guy.
Yeah.
Next up, we have got Ratmat Irwin He is power cleaning 180 kilos here as a 73 kilo lifter. Bear in mind the world record is 200 kilos.
There's two things I love training hall footage for.
Yeah.
The first one is big heavy back squats.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll put big heavy squats in there because I like the front squats as well. And then absurd power cleans are the second reason.
We used to see a huge amount of absurd power cleans before, but something about the 73 kilo class just seems to bring out the best in people's power cleaning ability.
Yeah.
So generally, power cleans are about 20 kilos unless you're a super, and then it's a much greater difference usually. But for pretty much everybody else below that super heavyweight class, it's usually about 20 to 30 kilos depending on how efficient you are. So at a minimum, we're looking at 200 kilos potentially here. And this was, I dare say, routine.
Yeah.
Pedestrian.
Jeez, his lockout is beautiful.
Still holding the hook grip in the lockout, holding
Yeah.
the hook grip in the catch position. And he is just nailing those jerks as well. Not
My
even
God, yeah.
not even re-racking it.
That's the elbow extension of a gymnast.
It actually is, yeah. It was smashing through 180. Now, still in the 73 kilo class, we have... Look, I am going to butcher this one just before anyone is like, this is how you say this name. I appreciate we don't always say names wrong. People call us Ian and Dairy and we don't care. So, just on behalf of saying this wrong, it's probably saying it wrong, right? We're Fan Wichuma, right? Okay?
Nailed it.
I have respect for the athletes just because I can't pronounce them phonetically or pronounce them correctly because I don't speak fluent any number of language such as Thai. Doesn't mean I don't respect the athletes, okay? Just, I want to clear that one up, right?
One thing I really respect is that split jerk.
So he's clean jerking 195 kilos as a 73 kilo athlete, 18 years old.
What?
Yeah, 18. That jerk is out.
I never realised he was that in. That jerk is gorgeous.
Yeah, that jerk is... I don't love that style of clean, but that clean and jerk itself, that weight in the training hall, oof.
For me, a lot of amateur lifters get it wrong when they look at people. Mm-hmm. When they look at elite lifters, they'll look at that and try and model their technique around it when you shouldn't really do that. But his jerk, if you can model that jerk, do it.
Oh,
That's
man.
so nice.
Yeah, that position's so stable. The lockout, just the perfect balance, that split jerk position.
It's very much the Russian style. Like very continued press through overhead.
Yeah.
No kind of drop under. It's just all upward drive.
Well, it's just a good jerk, really,
Yeah.
I suppose. Then we have the Armenians have showed up in the training hall. So we've got Simone Martirassian, Gormanassian, and Lalian. Now, they are all basically muscle snatching 120 kilos and doing some variation of that or an overhead squat for varying numbers of reps. And still one of my favourite technicians currently lifting is actually Lalian. His technique is beautiful, so textbook, so smooth, so fast. Simon's a little bit more aggressive.
It's actually funny when you see him doing those muscle snatches. The early arm bend happens so early on those.
Yes, yeah.
You know,
Also in the training hall, we have Simon doing a 220 kilo clean front squat and jerk. So Gregor just put this up in his story on All Things Gym or ATG Insta.
what I really like about that is he starts the front squat with the same speed that he starts his jerk dip at.
Yes.
If you just pause that after the first 4 inches of that front squat, you have no idea if he's going to jerk it or not.
He's just going straight for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like, you're in good shape when you're doing your clean front squat and jerk really quickly.
Yeah.
So you're just going straight into that front squat.
Yeah.
So obviously he's a super now, of course.
He's a horse.
Yeah, just nailing these jerks. Then we have Team China showing up and Tian squatting 260 for a set of 4, which is such an odd number of reps to do. I'm not going to lie.
This definitely falls in the category of things I like to watch in the training hall. These are those big heavy squats I was talking about earlier.
You enjoy sets of 4, you big
Yeah.
weirdo.
Yeah.
That's not right.
Now, the only reason you do a set of 4 is an absolute balls out AMRAP or you miss a set of 5.
It's so hard to know with Tian what his kind of max is, and it's similar to Toshiki. You see like 260, and if you watch Toshiki's warm up to 321, at 260 you're like, what's he going to hit today?
Yeah.
Knowing he's already hit 321, you're like, right, he's obviously going to hit it, but it's just, with this, like, there's a possibility Tian could do 290 for a set of 4 here today, and it just would look very, very similar, you know?
I'd love to know how it feels for him.
Yeah, is that really the problem with
Yeah.
if you're coaching it, the perception of it is
Yeah.
almost irrelevant because it's how the lifter is actually feeling when they're doing it.
Yeah.
It's really hard to tell if this is balled out for him or he could have done 6 more reps.
Yeah. Or does it feel the same as 320 does for him?
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
Then, not in the training hall, but not over there yet, it looks like, we have some of Team Korea. So we have Yeon Hak, our buddy old pal. He going 180, 210. So when we were in Korea, he was injured in the calf, I believe. I think it was one or both calves were injured, and he couldn't do the full lifts very regularly. But here we got 180 and 210.
He doesn't look too injured here.
No, he does not. No, he does not.
Yeah, very power.
He is someone who is super aggressive on the lifts. Like, he's always, whenever he's putting up the lifts, he's given whatever lift he is, like, all of his just maximum intention.
Yeah, absolutely. That lockout looks a bit weird in his left-hand side.
It always kind of looks a little bit weird, to be
Yeah.
honest. It's never not like that. He loves that double bounce as well.
It's always funny when you see this when they're looked. Now, this might just have been that this video was put up later and that he's actually over there training with them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny when you see that kind of like staggering of athletes flying out. Is it because they only want them in country for 3 or 4 days before they're due to lift?
Mm-hmm.
So lighter athletes go first, or what is it?
Well, this is actually 3 days ago, so I assume
Okay.
they hadn't. I know I saw the physio on Instagram was over there, but we haven't seen them in the training hall yet. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe they've trained. We just literally haven't seen any footage of them actually training.
Yeah.
So Worlds started today. 2 of Irish lifters lifted. Rebecca Copeland and Thammy have lifted. And of course, we did an episode of Thammy coming out on the podcast in a couple of weeks when we released the season. And both of them did very, very well and lifting incredible numbers as 49s. And be great to see the rest of the Irish lifters lifting in the Worlds this year.
Absolutely, yeah. It's so cool to have so many Irish athletes at Worlds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very, very cool.
Next up in our powerlifting section of the show, technically slash strongmen, we have Jamal Browner attended at the Giants live event and almost certainly the lightest guy there. Deadlifting 430 kilos. He gave 455 an attempt and didn't quite get above his knee, but 430 at his body weight, he's certainly not the kind of 180 kilo average body weight we see, massively impressive, conventional, who's typically a sumo deadlifter.
He's just looking at his proportions here. Mm-hmm. There's a total movement of around 14 inches on that.
Yeah.
It's absolutely mental how well built he is for deadlifting.
Yeah, he's...
Like, if he opened his hands there, the tops of his fingers would touch his kneecap.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. The deadlifting can be a really limb length game.
It's a phenomenal deadlift.
We also had Graham Hicks attempting 505 kilos. Someone's going to do it. Someone's going to get beyond that. It was 3 years or so since we saw Eddie Hall and Hafthor do the 500 and 501. And we've seen a few people attempt that 500 plus now, and someone's going to do it. There's so many people getting there who wouldn't even dream of doing it before.
Yeah.
So let's look at this 505 by Graham Hicks, who we've been watching his build up on the new show. And the fact that you can get that to knee level is incredible.
That's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's like, it genuinely is just this massive barrier. Now, I know it was broken through, and I think a lot of people would have thought that there's this kind of glass ceiling there, and that suddenly when someone had deadlifted over 500 kilos, I think it speaks to the absolute enormity of that task, that there's been so many people attempt it now and just can't quite get it. Now, he's insanely close.
The thing with 505 or 500 plus is that, or 500 even, is that you just can't be hitching it, or you can't be like, oh, this is pretty heavy, but I'll get there. So
Yeah.
You're either in shape and you're going to nail 505, or it's just not happening.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know Giants Live, they use figure of 8 straps, deadlift suits, which all, of course, added plenty. And realistically, I don't know if we'll ever see anyone deadlift 500 plus without straps. Never say never, but
Yeah.
I don't think the straps really is a thing that's a consideration for some part of it. It's the suit, and I know, for example, Jamal has done a sumo without a suit at 500 kilos. So there's There's a lot going on with it from that max deadlift, but someone's going to do 505 eventually.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
Now, next up, we've got Shane Hunt, who is, as usual, being an absolute unit, and he is hitting fucking huge close grip benches at 200 kilos for multiple sets of 3 and some sets of 4 in this close grip, 200 kilos, and routine is only word to describe these.
They just look so easy. They're so close grip.
Yes.
It's not like shoulder width. It's actually a bit narrower than that. He doesn't even have, like, usually we look for that vertical forearm at the bottom. He's still coming in from that, and legs up off the ground.
And feet elevated as well. Yeah. Literally, Shane is just a big, strong guy. The epitome of big, strong guy.
Yeah. I remember the scariest moment I ever had when I started lifting weights. Say I was around 16 or 17 and I was in the gym in the rugby club. This massive fella came in. He used to play rugby before, doesn't play anymore. Put 140 kilos on the bar after around a total of 4 reps of a warm-up. And he just hopped up, asked me to spot him, pulled his feet up off the floor like that and started repping out 140 kilos.
Jeepers,
yeah.
Creepers.
I've literally never looked at a bench press the same way since.
You do find people who bench press and they're doing it the way, I don't even know, like Toshiki squats. Like, it's just their thing, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not like Shane is, like, built really for the bench press in some ways. Like, he's just a really big unit. He's tall. He's got long enough arms, you know. And he's benching this. It's just, it kind of reminds me of Clarence's bench a bit.
Yes. Where it's just sheer strength and power.
Yeah, it's so smooth though.
If you want to hear more about Shane's training, we actually have a podcast, a full-length podcast with Shane. It's on the YouTube channel and it's on Spotify, so you can go and look at that on either of those platforms. Very nice guy.
Next up, we have Russel Orty squatting 356 kilos or 785 pounds for the Americans and Canadians, who are often forgotten in the pound thing, which of course is wrong. Pounds aren't real. 356 kilo back squat in his gym, and incredible maintenance of positions with a super heavy weight on a very grindy max rep.
That's the thing. Like, with how grindy that rep is, he doesn't have any breakdown. There's some, like, true grinders out there. I remember, is it Hayden Bowe?
Yes.
Used to be the grindiest of squatters, but he'd have a breakdown in position at certain weights. There's zero change here.
Isn't that so reliable for him to be able to know that he can, like, maintain those positions so that when he's going for heavy weights,
yeah,
he doesn't have to change the cueing in his head and he doesn't have to work on those singles as much. He just needs to get stronger per se.
Absolutely, yeah.
And know that when he goes for those maxes, he can rely on himself to follow through, which is a massive skill in itself to lift those heavy weights and to be able to do it for repeatably in comp, but also just to do it for a long time.
I just want to say before we move on, guys like Russ and guys like Shane, who are in phenomenal shape as well as being incredibly strong, that's the future of powerlifting.
It's the future now.
Yeah.
Future's now, old man. Next up, we have got Hussein Ali deadlifting 370 kilos for a triple at 22. Now, 22 is kind of like, I don't know why 22 is mentioned, because it's not like, it's obviously very young in general, but it's not super young for like crazy feats of strength. 370 by a triple itself is enough of a crazy feat of strength.
I think a notable thing here is he has an almost double knee bend. He kind of scoops his legs back underneath, and he's not hitching it, but he does have a straightening of the knee in the first pull, then a re-straightening of the knee again in the second pull.
Yes.
It's interesting. It's super pronounced on these. You'll see a lot of powerlifters doing it, but it is very, very pronounced on these. Most of the time on those heavier attempts and heavier reps, you just won't see people lock out their knees at the top. They'll always have that small amount, maybe 5 degrees of flexion at the top. He really locks his knees out on these.
Yeah, it's like, it is a hitch, but it doesn't look like he really needed to hitch it. It's like he's finishing it super quickly.
Yeah.
But 370 for 3, if it's got to go up, it's just, you got to get it up somehow.
Absolutely.
Next up, we've got 54-year-old Wayne Van Nostrand benching 600 pounds, 272, so about 275 odd kilos for a bench press in his tongs at 54 years old. Not an uber wide grip. just good old fashioned, big, strong old guy.
That's insane. I don't. What I really want to know in a lot of these cases where it's guys, they're not old guys, they're older for strength athletes. What was he benching when he was 35 or 30?
Yeah.
Like a load of these guys were incredibly strong when they were younger and they kind of just maintain a lot of it. There's also a fair cohort of them who weren't training at all in their teens and 20s.
Yes.
And they're kind of developing this level of strength later in life, which is absolutely insane.
It's also 300 pounds. Holy moly.
He's 300 pounds.
Yeah.
140 kilos.
137 or something. Yeah.
Okay.
Big boy.
Big boy.
Wayne. Big boy Wayne. Now, throwers again being... Ryan Crouser, of course, being the thrower. He's that guy. He's him. With 325 kilo pin squats. Before he went out to win his world championships, he threw 23.51 meters, which I have to imagine is very, 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 very far, with 2 blood clots in his leg.
Yeah, let's leave the blood clot thing off a sec and just talk about the pin. I'd love to know if these pin squats are in the morning or if they're less than an hour before the competition.
Yeah, it would be quite interesting.
I'd like to know that purely from an academic standpoint of, is this a bit of pap or is this just that he always trains weights in the morning and throws in the evening and he wants to keep things as consistent as possible?
Well, you get PAP from a morning session. You can get it like PAP, depending on some of the effects. Like you can get up to 48 hours, or you can get 15 seconds, or
Yeah.
you can get several hours. So it would be interesting. It did say just hours out, so relatively close.
Yeah.
It's just hours out from winning his second World Championships in Budapest at 325. Someone
Now-
saying those blood clots were a precursor excuse if he failed. I don't think the greatest thrower ever needs to be making... there used to be a thing, it was like before CrossFit Open, it was like get your excuses in before the Open. But I don't think someone like Ryan Crouser is someone who really makes excuses like that. I'd be surprised if he was that kind of person. Maybe he is, but I would be very doubtful.
Yeah, I'm just so afraid of people doing things with blood clots though.
Oh God! Oh my Jesus!
Like,
wow.
That's why I don't really want to mention that. Obviously, there's a lot of importance and a lot of praise put on athletes who do things when they're in non-ideal circumstances. You know, they'd be like, "Oh, he broke his leg and he kept playing," or "Oh, there's massive event happening in their lives and they went on and lifted or whatever." But when it's health conditions like that are very, very, very likely to be fatal in certain circumstances, you need to be
Are you having a stroke?
super careful. My brain is not
Do you have
working.
a blood clot?
Maybe I have one in my brain.
Do you want to try that sentence again, or will I respond
No,
to
I'm
it?
good.
Do you want me
You
to
can
respond
leave
to
it.
it?
You just respond
I'll
there.
respond to it, okay. Yeah, it's the blood clot of all things. So like broken limbs will repair themselves to varying degrees. Like you say, you know, if you have an illness, flu, a viral infection, bacterial, you're probably not going to die. You just probably won't perform very well, and you'll certainly make yourself a lot more fatigued. But things like blood clots are certainly instantly fatal if they go to the wrong place, and of course unfixable after that. So
It's the thing as well of like, if you're in that kind of predicament where you have some clotting in your leg, you're probably on some sort of blood thinners. Even other more kind of secondary injuries or injuries that aren't going to be as important or as kind of directly dangerous suddenly now become way more dangerous.
oh yeah,
You know, like it's just, yeah, I'm just always cautious when I see people in those kind of situations.
like if it was me personally, it'd be like, okay, the World's not this year, Olympics next year. I don't know if Ryan has a family or whatever, but he certainly could have. You know, the responsibility there is to it's to them, to other people, I think, in this scenario, to not kill yourself essentially, or not make it a lot worse. So okay, without knowing the full story of the blood clots, maybe the doctors are like, look, it's okay, you can do this and come back. But you'd have to imagine the smarter idea would be to go get them sorted. But this is why he's one of the greatest throwers ever. The
Winners win.
Winners win, you know, and people... I think the biggest thing people saw this in terms of general culture was that Michael Jordan thing, that elite athletes will go this far. And there was this thing, you remember was it the Goldman study where they asked the athletes if they take a pill and you die in 10 years, and over half the athletes said they wouldn't. And then there was this kind of, someone repeated it, I believe, or there was this anecdote that someone repeated it, and a lot less of the athletes said they wouldn't. But from what I know, that's just not true of any of the athletes you ever meet. They are a different breed, and they want to win. And they will go win the world championships with blood clots in their leg, and they will do their quarter squat pins in the morning with 325 kilos to make sure that whether it's habit or to get some priming via post-activation potentiation to varying degrees to win that world championships.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
They can't switch off. For him,
No.
this probably wasn't even an option.
No.
He couldn't fathom not winning that world championships, blood clots or not.
Yeah, I think it's one of the biggest misconceptions people have. They'll maybe start weightlifting a bit later in life, or powerlifting a bit later in life, or they'll start doing a sport that they didn't do when they were a kid, but maybe they played a different sport, and they'll say, oh, I wish I found this sport earlier, like I could have been far, far greater at this sport if I'd started doing it earlier. Athletes like this are just born. Like, that mindset is in people that they're going to win. And most of the time it transcends different sports you do as well.
Yeah. But then you also get losers saying that it was just an excuse before he failed.
That's the worst comment I've seen.
On the actual subject of the 325, there is certainly some merit to it, but it's definitely something you'd want to be training regularly to get used to, or to assess whether it's productive for you.
Also, just make sure you do it with other people's barbells, not with your own.
Next up, we've got some of Team Scotland, of course, leading us into the Rugby World Cup. Front squatting, somewhere between 150-ish, I'd say, maybe a little bit less. And of course, then we've got the no-reppers, the
losers?
Yeah, the losers, depth. Come on, I can go deeper than that. We just did the half squat video, but it is interesting. You don't see a lot of rugby players doing front squats in general.
No, you actually get some forwards doing them, particularly front rows doing them,
Mm-hmm. Do you give any of your rugby players front squats?
Yeah, sometimes, particularly in season, I get them front squatting a small bit.
Okay.
For a lot of rugby players, like, restriction around the hips makes a good upright back squat very difficult to hit.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually don't like them low bar back squatting. I know there's some people out there who'd want to debate on that, but it's really not something I'd want rugby players doing. And the front squat, particularly front squat with straps, gets them a lot of work to be done. Interesting thing here is there's a patella strap on. Patella straps were so common when we were coming up underage.
Yeah, I see them a lot in jiu-jitsu and stuff as well now, and it's...
To be honest, it's nearly always that you've inflammation of the patellar tendon or some sort of inflammation around the knee,
Mm-hmm.
and you putting some compression on it alleviates some of the pain, but in fact you just make it worse.
Yeah, the idea that your patella is mistracking or out of place while movement should indicate that if that is the case, you should be addressing it very quickly, and it's not really... The compression probably isn't restricted. You're surely just displacing that issue upstream, even if that assessment is correct.
Yeah.
But
this as well, just to finish off with the half squat thing, is this is the depth I would want a rugby player front squatting to.
Thanks for watching, and we will see you guys tomorrow. And thank you for everyone who tags us in the Instagram post. I say it every week, and we mean it every week, that we really appreciate people tagging us in stuff, because as we say, it's far better news show when you guys are letting us know what you're looking at, and we're just not going to be able to see all of that good stuff on the gram or anywhere else in social media. So when you guys tagging us in it, you make the new show continually better, and we're well over a year now, or at least very, very close to that year point of the new show. I need to go back and check, but we've been bringing you pretty much without fail. I don't think we've missed more than 1 or 2 weeks total in the last 52 plus weeks, plus or minus. So we don't have any plans to stop anytime soon, and I know you guys really love the new show, and a lot of you look forward to it on Mondays, and we're very happy to keep making it. So thank you for all the support on the new show. And if we missed anything this week, let us know in the comments. Let us know what your favourite lift you're looking forward to in the Worlds. I think probably I'm finally looking forward to seeing Nino doing something. She's young, lifting, and seeing what he's getting up to. And I suppose Lasha...
For me, Lasha is the one I really want to see. I want to see what he looks like at heavyweight.
73s as well, I'm really looking forward to just the entire group, because it's obviously a very, very strong group. Team Italy, seeing how they perform across the band, because they are the it team at the moment.
Hey.
Actually, that wasn't even a pun. I was genuinely they're the guys at the moment.
Yeah.
They're the group of people. Everyone. They're like the new Team China that people want to see training.
Yeah, Team China was just like that 10 years ago.
Now it's like Team Italy is that team.
Yeah.
And it's great that there's a new team like that.
Absolutely.
Not to spite Team China, but it could be anyone. It's just good that there's someone new coming up, and it's Team Italy currently.
If you want to get your hands on some Sika strength specific knowledge, you can check out the Snatch Masterclass. So there's hours of lectures up there available. Or you can check out the Back Squat Masterclass. Lectures from myself and Owen, biomechanics, programming, strength training for the squat and for the snatch. It's available at the link below.